Welcome to another lesson. Today we're going to be talking about how to open your music ear. Otherwise, some people will call it ear training. Well, that doesn't mean that you are deaf, that you cannot hear anything, but that's not what we're saying literally. What we're saying is that if somebody play a particular note on the piano, can you tell what note that is, or can you tell us the key which that note is? Yes, majority of us might be able to sound any note, but you might not be able to tell what note that is or what key. So the next question we need to ask ourselves, what does it mean for somebody's ear to be open musically? When somebody's ear is open musically, it means they have developed an enhanced ability to understand, appreciate, and identify various elements of music by listening. These include recognizing pitch, rhythm, harmony, timbre, and dynamics, and as well as identifying instruments, chord progression, and structure of music. This often involve improved oral skills, such as able to pick out melodies and harmonies by ear. So it's a good idea for us to understand this meaning before we dive deeper. Now, out of what I've mentioned so far, about the elements of music. Where the problem lies is you being able to pick out melodies or harmony, and that is what we're going to look at in this tutorial. So I'm going to show you various steps which you can take or apply to get to open your music ear. But there are two class of human on earth. There are some that when they hear any song, they were able to pick or sound or repeat back the melody they've heard. And the other people at the other end cannot even sound it. Because some people, let's pick the key of C for example. If you strike a key for this, for example, they are not able to pick this key sound. Instead of that, they can sound the, whereas the key that was produced is this. So we call such people tone deaf, but that doesn't mean that they are deaf naturally. They can hear the sound. It's just that they are not able to reproduce that sound the same way they've heard it. So that depends on the background of the person. If you have a child that lives his entire life in a particular environment, let's say music environment, probably church environment, that child will not have such a problem. And also the school which we find ourselves, there are some schools that even from their early years, you say they have a music teacher, that part of the brain is already activated. Whereas on the other end, like I said earlier, some of them, if you sound any notes, if you have them to sound this note, they will sound something else as this. They will even sound something very funny, like you'll be wondering that, don't you? You might even ask that, don't you have ear to listen to what I've played? They cannot do it. This video is not for such category of people. So I'm building upon those who can actually sound pitch. For example, if I have a twinkle twinkle little star on the key of C, so twinkle twinkle little star. Let's say you don't know the lyrics, but you're able to do ta 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 ta. Even if I change the key to another key, you are still able to do it. Ta 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 ta. But if I ask you, what are the notes I'm playing, you might not be able to tell. So such category of people are the one I called, they just perceive the pitch of the music. They just perceive it. They are able to reproduce it back, but they can't tell you the key or the note which I'm playing, but you are able to sound it back. So this video is for you. The first step to take to get your music ear open, or to get your ear open musically, is this: understand skill. It's not just about singing it, understand it. Now, let me explain this in a kind of biological terms. So, let's say when you give birth to a child, we all know that a child's brain is like a white sheet of paper. The same way, to our music brain. I will be referring that to our music brain when we are just starting to learn how to get our ear open. So, what we need to do to that playing sheet is that we need to install or download this scale into it. I'm sure you'll be wondering, okay, what do I mean by install or download scale? It means that we need to deliberately write this scale onto that playing sheet, which I'm simply referring to our music brain. A lot of people can pitch sound, but not everybody can tell you what note is that or what key is actually played. I'm not talking about perfect pitch in this tutorial. That's another case. What I mean is that you need to practice it. That you need to, like when I was learning I every morning when I get to the piano, because I was taught with a major scale actually, because in the environment which I grew up, that is the kind of scale that is used. There's more of major scale and pentatonic scales. So what I do is that every morning or anytime I'm chanced after school, I keep sounding these notes to the point that I can recognize them whenever I hear them. That's what I mean. That is when you know it. It's not just for you to able to sound it. Even without the piano, if I go to any key, da 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 di da 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 di da di da 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 di da da, I'm able to sound this scale on any key that it was played. And I'm able to identify distinctly individual notes. So, for example, da 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 di da 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 di da di da 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 di da da. Da da di da 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 di da di da 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 di da do. Da da di da 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 di da di da 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 di da do. I'm able to sound it as a skill and also individual. So what I do then, this is how you install it. I'm explaining how to install it. So when I get back home from school, I'll play the scale. I will sound it together. It means that I'm registering each of the scale to that white paper I'm referring to at the beginning. So even most time we do arpeggio so that you keep repeating it. So later I will close my eyes. I will do this. Then I'm able to hear that that is E. I can do this. I can even hear it direct, even without me looking at the piano. So, which means I'm able to sound each of these notes. There are some people, if you give them that this is your starting key, and you give them this, they will sound something else. They will be able to do ta, and I know that is G because based on the scale of C, I know that at that range, that is the G key. So until you are able to register each of these notes on that white paper, which I refer to as a brain, it is then you understand it. Then the type of scale you are going to register depends on your environment and the kind of music you want to sing or write or play. You don't expect if I'm from Arab nation that I won't know Arabic scale. In fact, from my birth, I would have been hearing such notes of that Arabian scale. So I would have been hearing such even from birth. So naturally, I would have that scale in. But for this tutorial and for worldwide use, we all know that major scale are widely used. So that is what I'm going to do in this tutorial. So whereas, like I'm saying, it depends on the kind of music or the kind of song you want to play. There are some people that they are very good using blues scale, or the kind of music you want to write. That's what determines the scale you install on this white paper, which I'm referring to as our brain. But for this tutorial, since major scale is widely used, we are going to study major scale. And don't forget that for Indians doesn't have just 12 tones. Indians, they have 24 tones. You can go make out that research, you see? And that is why sometimes you hear some of that note like, it's like one key is missing on the piano. You might not be able to get that. Go make your research out and put your comment in the comment section. So How do you now install this? Most time we sing it out. Da, 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 da. But our advice, the most efficient way, which I think is for you to sound it as solfa notation, which is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. If you go to another key, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. So make sure that you are able to sound them in solfa notation. It will help you a lot. Then later, you might just sound it in your heart. That is, you don't want to voice it out. That's what most professional instrumentalist or musician does. At first, when you're learning, you sound it out. La 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 la, which is do re mi fa sol la ti do ti la sol fa mi re do. So you practice you sound several sequence. You can just close your eye. You can just say somebody should help you play a note. Ta, but you now need to tell them, okay, is it do? Is it re? Is it mi? What I heard is mi, la. You can say I even have double key, la, la. So I can sound it whichever way you've given me. You can use any major scale of any key actually. That is, you can use E flat major if you want, but for this tutorial, let's stick to C. And it's very good for you to stick to C because it will allow you to see the letters or the keys of the piano in your virtual mind. Let me use that word, virtual mind. So what you're going to do is that the scale doesn't just end on just an octave. I will advise you do an octave down too, which means you are starting from your C3. So this is the range you install in that white paper I'm referring to. It will allow you to get any note, either the note is going up or down. So the first question you even need to ask yourself anytime you hear a pitch, for example, let's say you are given the key, right? I've done video on how to get key of the music. It means that most time where the song ends is the key of the music. So when you get it, da, for example, this, da, and you hear a note as da, and you hear a note as la, you won't be thinking of high pitch note. I'm very sure you'll be thinking of what? Low pitch note. And that is why you have to extend your scale octave lower. Once you've able to sound each of these scale effortlessly, which means you can sound it using solfa notation. I will advise that, but it's not compulsory. The next stage is the comparing stage. Please listen carefully. You've heard this thing that from what is known to unknown, and for every individual to answer a question, there is a perspective which they are giving their answer from based on their experience. That due to psychology. No matter the question I want to ask you, you are going to give me that answer based on an experience. And what does that mean? It means that you are giving me an answer based on what you already know. It's not just from a thin air you are answering. It's based on an experience book you've read, where you've gone through, you're a cantor. That is basically the same way it's pertaining to this recognizing music sound. So which means now we've registered the major scale in the white paper, which I'm referring to as brain. We are now going to compare it. So each time you hear a sound in your head, for example, let's say a song of Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. O is the key. O, that's the key. So let's look for that. O. You see, I got it direct. I didn't even know. So the key of that song is this. Now, somebody now said that Old MacDonald had a farm. That what is the note or the sound of farm? So the first thing you need to do is for you to get it, I'm going to say it in solfa notation actually. For you to get that is that you pick that note the person asks you that what note is it? You hold it Farm, you won't forget. That is why it should be that should be a deliberate, because you want to compare. Then in the white paper, which I'm referring to our brain, you now sound the scale in your head. Da, da, dee. You remember we've gotten the scale. Da, da. So you now go da, da, dee, da, 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 dee, da, dee, da, 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 dee, dee, do. Sometimes you can just chant it the way I've done it. You can say it inside you. That's when you are a bit good at it. That's when you say it inside you. But most times it's advisable for you to say it out, or you say it calmly so that you won't disturb other person in the ear training class. So we are looking for Old MacDonald at a farm. That note, don't forget, farm. So in your head, you are comparing farm. Da. Does this sound the same? No. Da. No. Does this sound the same as farm? And majority of time, if you look at farm, the pitch is lower. So which means I'll be sounding the scale backward. Remember the key is this. Da. So I'll be doing da ti da da pa ti ti da. So I'm looking for fa. Da is not the same. You go to the next one. Ti fa no. La fa so fa. You see, it is so. You see the way I'm comparing that note. So you now say, oh, the note is what? A so, which means ta 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 ta, and that is what? Ta. So the one that blend, or the one that it is the same. I'm running out of word. I don't know which word to use. The one that fit, yeah, the one that the note that fit each other is that ta ta. So you are comparing that in your brain. Mind you, you won't be doing this when you become a pro. It's because you are just starting. It's going to be a fast kind of activity in your mind. In fact, by the time you do da, 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 once you recognize that the pitch is down, you just sound or sing your scale in your mind, or sing it out backward to where that pitch fit, or to where they are the same. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. To where the pitch which you are comparing and the one you already installed in your brain is the same. Then you say, okay, that note is so. Some people say it's so, but I always say it's so, H-S-O. So, and since I know I'm on the key of F, if you've really mastered your 12 major scales, at that time when you're practicing it, you already know the letters that form each of the scale, major scale, also to other scale, which I'm still going to talk about. So I don't need to look at the piano. I already know that is C. Look at it. Because when I'm playing the scale of F, ta 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 ta, when I get to that part of it, the key, it is what? C. So I can tell the person that, oh, that key, the key of that note or the key of that pitch is C. And if I'm to say it in solver notation, it is so. Let's do another one again, another comparing. Let's take a song of always use a simple song. And mind you, let me tell you this. Once you are able to start to compare correctly for one note, you find out that you start to grow up. That's why I said in my earlier videos that music is growth. It's not just what you just grab, especially this ear training or how to open your music ear. You have to grow along with it, because it's what you don't know. So you are trying to what? Learn. So learning takes time. And if you go to the theory of learning, there's something called maturity. Maturity, or another word, simply means your readiness. And that's why I said it is a deliberate attempt. So you must relax, have the time to let this. If you are just juggling up and down, it will not come. You won't get it. So the installation is where the problem is. So once you're able to install, then you compare. So for example, let's say the same song, we're on the same key. So ta 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 ta. Okay, let's even get the first two notes, since that is repeated. Ta ta ta. Okay, that's the note we're looking for. We're looking for ta. You hold on that note at one part of your brain and just using it like that. Hopefully, you understand. Then the other side is the skill you've installed in your brain. Then you compare again. Ta. Okay, so let me sound the scale. Since I know that end of that music is ta. Oh, definitely the end is also the end of my scale, or the end of the scale, which is the key of the scale, is actually the first note I'm looking for. Ta ta, you can see it's rhyme. Let me do an obvious one. Ta 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 ta. Okay, so we're looking for ta ta. Okay, so if you look at this, the key is this ta, which you don't even necessarily to know the key letter, or just ta 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 ta. That is the end of the music. That is where you pick your scale from. Ta ta da di da 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 di da di da 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 di da do. Then you do downward. Da di da 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 di da do. Da da di da 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 di da di da 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 di da do di da 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 di da do. You just do it forward and backward. So in case the reason is that so that you need to know if the pitch rises to the right hand side or to the left hand side. It's just like the mathematical graph. Okay. Okay, we are looking for ta ta. You held on to that note and compare with that scale in your mind. You now start singing. Da. Does it sound ta? No. Da. Te. No, it's not te. Ta. You see, that is it. Ta. So in my head, I can see the scale as something move. In my head, I can see the scale as if I'm singing it forward. Da da di da 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 di da. Then if I'm thinking about da 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 da. Remember, I'm able to get where to start. It's actually the end of the music. That's why I'm able to get where to start my scale from. That's why I'm able to pick the pitch which I start my scale from. Da, da. So definitely I will not run my scale forward to the right, which means increasing it. I will lower the pitch because the pitch which I am able to hear is lesser, that is going towards the light, is reducing, is a bit deep. Aha, is a bit deep. So da no. Let me use this key as my guide to keep remembering me of the key I'm looking for. Let's say I close my eye. I'm looking for, so I'm doing, look at it now. Then the scale. Da, da. You can sound it up if you want. Da. And the key is this. Da 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 da. Da da di da 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 di da di da 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 di da 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 di da 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 di da. So I'm looking for da. So do. It's not the same. Ti. Ta. You can see it's the same. You see, that is the comparing stage. Then you can now tell them, oh, that scale, based on the scale of using software notation, is do, ti, la. So that is la. And la, if you play the major scale, that will be D on the scale of F. And if you don't know this key the person is playing, just tell the person that the note is what? La. That's all. That is all you need to know about the comparing stage. You may be thinking that, okay, now I've gotten it. That is for single notes. So how am I going to hear multiple notes? Just relax. The more you practice, the more our brain is a powerful machine that can do more than what you think. You'll be so surprised that on the long run, you're already picking multiple keys. But start from single note and listen often to songs, especially simple songs, not too complicated songs like rhymes, hints, especially hints. It will really open your ear to hear the melody, at least the melody of the song. So it will just be like a magic when you woke up one morning and you see that, wow, I can actually hear the notes of this song. Okay, I was playing a song like this. I can hear everything. I can hear do, mi, so, ti, do, re, do. That's it. I can sing it to the end of the song, even to the scale. La, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, so, fa, mi, re, do, ti, la. I can hear it. You see? So the same way you do it to single unit, you keep practicing. On the long run, before you know it, you start picking up. But there's one more thing. Sometimes the notes you are trying to pick might not just be on the major scale. And that is why you need to also install another scale, which is called chromatic scale. But don't start with chromatic scale, please. Start with the major scale. In fact, before chromatic scale, the next scale you should understand very well that you're able to sound it is your what? Relative minor scale. And I've done that video in my tutorial, previous tutorial. It's very important you understand relative minor. And after that, chromatic scale, very important. Which is depending, there's a way we call it when we descend, and there's a way we call it when we ascend. So for example, this is do, di, re, mo, mi, fa, fi, sol, si, la, then do, ti, do. So that might not be done at your start, but you can do chromatic scale later. Okay, look at this song, Great is the Faithfulness. Look at it. Look at it here now. It's from here. Look at it. Did you see that now? And that is why you need to also install chromatic scale. Chromatic scale is just a step scale. So if I make la ti la so fa mi re mi fi so fa, you see that now? So you need that chromatic scale also. It will help you to pick those notes outside the major scale. Next to the next element, for example, harmonies. Well, once you are able to get melodies of song, when you're able to pitch melody of song, to get harmony is very easy. Don't forget that harmony simply means like a couple of notes played together, and most time there will be always one note that is sounding at the top. That's the melody of the song. Then so this is when you need to understand, you need to now train your brain to be able to split it, which means maybe once you listen to the melody, you block your mind to listen to probably the one sounding at the middle, and also the one standing next to the top, or the middle then to the center. So you just need to learn to filter that in your mind. So which means that is when you need to understand this element of music, which is called the timbre. So which means you need to understand the quality. Oh, the melody. What else again am I hearing with this melody? And that is the harmony of it. You understand? But most time it's advisable for you to have your instrument, most especially keyboard. That would make it easier. But that doesn't mean you can get the harmony at the same time. Trust me, it's levels. You can still hear the harmonies at the same time as you listen to it. But this is the basic step for you to follow. Then next is also chord progression. If you follow my tutorial, I've talked about chord progression. Now, every chord you play, common chord progression, like that chord I played now. On this first chord, which is a C major chord, there is one particular note which is dominating, and is this. If I go to 6, this is dominating. So those notes dominating each of these chords, they are the root notes. Then the same, remember, the root note is like a melody on the bass. So if you're able to get the root note, for example, you've gotten the root note to be C, then you just need to what? Follow the method of building your chords, which means what? The third and fifth. And if you want it to be 7, you also add the 7th to it, depending on the quality of the chord you heard in the music. So once you are able to get the root of the chord, it will help you build your chords. That's all. For example, let's say the root of my chord is this. Oh, I know that's F, and I can build it on any key. Let's say the root of the chord is it. Okay, I can either build it to either a major or a minor. So, and trust me, by the time you hear the chord, you know if it's a major or a minor. Very easy. That is a distinct kind of sound you can easily get once your ear is open. So that is how you can use it in getting chord progression of a song. So once you are able to get the melodies of this song following the steps I've mentioned, it has opened doors for you now to flow in the element of music, which is the pitch, the rhythm, the harmony and timbre. See, some people, have you not seen some people that when they are drumming, let's say the song is going, some of them are dancing like this. They are dancing off the rhythm. There are some people like that. You see, it's things we need to also talk about. The same way some people cannot sound the note, some people can dance off rhythm of song. You know, sometimes it's health issue, and sometimes it might be the environment which they've grown. So they can also learn along the line. So these few steps will allow you to get your ear open musically. But remember the takeaway: deliberate, understand your skill depending on your kind of music. But for this tutorial, I've used the major scale. You do it up and down, sing it, meditate on it day and night. Then you do the comparing. You ask somebody to strike a key for you, then you try to get key or the tone, which you can either say it in music letter or you say it in software notation. But software notation is advisable. So the summary of this ear training or how to open your music ear is: number one, you install the major scale, though that depends on the kind of scale you want to install. Then after that, you have the sound you're looking for, and then you try to sing it. Sometimes you can just get it direct. If you're able to get it direct, that means it has installed. That means you're very good. Sometimes you might be confused. You just need to run the scale to where the scale matches the one you are looking for. Those two steps are the main focus of how to get your ear open. So you do that exercise yourself every time. You're going to see that you are going to start picking some of the notes. There are some people that already know some, but the rest of them they can't recognize it. You see, some from two it becomes three, from three it becomes four, like that. It keeps increasing over time as you train yourself along. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, share with friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe. And to my existing subscriber, thank you a lot. See you in my next video.